Hello, I'm Guru Scott. This is part 2 of our turbo installation video. On this part here, what we're going to do is take a 22mm wrench and go down here where this where the oil filter attaches, and we're going to take this nut loose back here, and we're going to install a piece in here, and we're going to show you how to do that once we get this out. So I'll take this loose, and then I'll be right back to show you what we're going to do next. Okay, before we go any further, I wanted to remind you to wear safety glasses, please. So, this is the new piece that comes with the kit. It doesn't matter if it's KO Racing or LC Engineering. It's going to have something similar to this, and this replaces the plug that comes out. And so what we did is we put a new gasket on it, which came with the kit, and I put some low strength, non-permanent Loctite, and this is going to act sort of as a thread sealant and help lock this piece in here where the oil goes through. Now I wanted to make sure I didn't get any near the oil hole here, so I just put it right along the threads down here. We also clean the threads on the other side. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and screw this in and snug it up with a 22mm wrench, and I'll do that and I'll come back and talk a little more about it. I've installed this piece here, this adapter piece. You might want to call it a reducer. Now I don't have a torque setting for it, and honestly there's not a good way to get a torque wrench in here. So I could kind of feel the aluminum washer kind of crushing. I gave it about 18 Newton meters of force if I was to guesstimate. And so it's in there nice and snug. If you over tighten it, you could easily crack this housing. So we want to avoid that if at all possible, because then you'll have to replace it. So the line that comes with the kit, the feed line that goes into the turbo, has a elbow on it like this, and it's going to fasten here. Now I'm not really ready to fasten this on yet because I don't think we're that far along. What I'm going to do is just leave this off for the moment so it doesn't get damaged or anything. And I'm going to start worrying about taking off the oil pan now. So we have to take the oil pan off, drill a hole in it, and have a piece welded on for the return line back from the turbo. So we're going to get underneath the truck now, and we're going to do a little work under there, and we'll show you what we're going to be doing. So be right back. In order to gain access to the oil pan, we're going to have to remove these skid plates. So there's one bolt here, one here, and these are 12mm, and 3 up front. So if you take this handy dandy long wrench clutch tool I bought, it allows me to get those out in no time at all. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this whole skid plate assembly off as one big piece, and then we'll come back and start looking at how we're going to get to the drain pan. From what I've read on the internet, we may have to remove a cross member, so I have the truck actually on jacks right now, just giving it some additional support, so if I have to remove a cross member, nothing bad could happen. So I'll pull off the plates and then we'll come back. Okay, right now we're underneath the truck and we're looking up at the oil pan, and this is where we believe the weldment has to be welded onto. It's going to have to be TIG welded. So I've put a little mark on the relative location. I got it in between this one bolt here and this other bolt on the other side that hold the pan on. And this does not have a cross member on this particular truck that we're going to have to take off. But we do have to, on the bell housing, there's like a little dust cover. We have to remove it, and then all the pan bolts. And then we're going to have to cut all underneath here very carefully with a razor blade, go around it, and pull this whole pan out. So that's what we're going to do next. And then we will go back and look at some of the pictures on the internet to make sure we've actually marked the right location. We don't want to make any mistakes. And then we'll start the drilling so that we can take this down and get it welded. So I'm going to get this pan off, and then I'll come back. We took off the little plate that goes between the bell housing and the back of the oil pan. It's right here. And we were real careful to mark each screw as we took it out, because some of them are nuts and bolts, some of them are just screws, and there's 3 different kinds of hardware. So if you want to know where they exactly go back, you're going to want to mark them, which is what we did. Also, the drain pan hardware we put into a bag and marked it. And on the drain pan here, or the oil pan, we first of all went around with a razor blade around here and cleaned it off really carefully. All this stuff comes off. And then we took a little tool which you use for O-rings. It's a plastic tool, so it's not going to damage the metal, not going to scratch it. Went in here and scratched out all the stuff that was in all the little grooves here. And then we followed it with Scotch-Brite to get all this cleaned up. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually clean all this up with some alcohol and wipes. And then I'm going to tape this. And then in the morning we'll drill it. And then we'll take it to be welded. So tonight what we'll do to finish is just tape this up because I don't want this surface to get damaged or scratched. So we'll tape it real well after we get it all cleaned up. And then we will drill it in the morning. And so we'll be back in the morning. So see you then. Okay, it's morning now and we're getting ready to start the drilling operation so that we can have this welded on. Now in the on the pictures it seems to show it more towards this way. But on our particular truck, there's some hoses, actually metal hoses that go here and they kind of break away here and come back. So we're going to have it welded on here and we're going to have it welded on actually like in that position. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and pre-made a little punch mark with a center punch and a hammer. And so what we're going to do is we're going to, on the web pages they show using a step drill. I'm actually going to step up through the different bits to get to the size that I want. That's slightly smaller than this. This is 0.606 inches. And so the bit I'm going to use is 9/16. And also while I'm in here, I'm going to replace the gasket and put this drain plug back in. So it's gasket 90430-12031. So I'll get all that done. We'll get all this cleaned up and then we'll take it down and get it welded. So after I get done drilling, I'm going to use a deburring tool to clean up the hole, and then I'll recheck everything, and then we'll come in here and we're going to use some wire brushes to remove this paint and get all this ready for a weld, and then we'll take it and get it welded. So I'll be back in just a minute and show you how far we got, so we'll be right back. Okay, we just got back from the welder. We got this TIG welded over at Cactus Welding in Gilbert, Arizona. Did a really great job for us. We appreciate that, so I thought I'd give them a shout out real quick. I put a new drain washer here, tighten this up. We put some paint on here, we're gonna let it dry, and we cleaned everything up and it's all ready to go back onto the truck now. So this will conclude part 2 of the video, and when we come back to part 3, we will be installing this oil pan, and we'll be doing some initial connections and some other things. So we'll get to that when we get to that point. So anyway, that's all there is for part 2, and hope to see you on part 3. Thank you for watching. Tschüss.